In a video we entitled Incorporating Great Britain by Subterfuge, there was a section about the reality of the councils across Britain. Very important when we consider David Cameron's 2010 conference speech in which he stated he was going to give more power to the councils.
More freedom to local councils to keep more of the money when they attract businesses to their area, to finance those big new infrastructure projects and to run new services.
The video showed clearly that acting in the role of what was an elected body, therefore answerable to the taxpaying public, the council, was now a corporation. Profiling Hyndburn Council, we presented a corporation named Globe Enterprises, which has a secretary and 5 directors. 2 directors are of the private corporate arena and 3 are councillors. Globe Enterprises as a corporate shareholding is made up of 4 shareholders: James Stewart Nevison holding 500 C shares, Irene Nevison holding 500 C shares, Hyndburn Council holding 1000 B shares and Bournefield Contractors Limited holding 1000 A shares. This share allocation clearly shows the elected council which the taxpayer funds and is therefore liable for any increase in costs, holding only 1/3 share in Globe Enterprises under the democratic system is always the minority vote in the boardroom. This means the will of the people, supposedly carried by the elected councillors, is at all points dwarfed by the will of the corporate. I sent all 35 Hyndburn councillors a brief note with a link to the video in question which said, "The following video clearly shows that James and Irene Nevison and Bournefield Contractors have the corporate interests at heart. Can you explain how any votes for you can bring about the people's will?" This is how they replied. Hyndburn Councillor Judith Allison, no thank you. Hyndburn Councillor Mohammed Ayub, no thank you. Hyndburn Councillor Pamela Barton. Hyndburn Councillor Peter Brickliff. Hyndburn Councillor John Broadley. Hyndburn Councillor Peter Clark. Hyndburn Councillor Claire Cleary. Hyndburn Councillor Nick Collingridge. Hyndburn Councillor Paul Cox. Hyndburn Councillor Aladad. Hyndburn Councillor Nusaf Dad, who did reply with this: "Thanks for this, I will look at this with interest." Hyndburn Councillor Bernard Dawson. Hyndburn Councillor Anthony Dobson. Hyndburn Councillor Wendy Dwyer. Hyndburn Councillor Harry Grayson. Hyndburn Councillor June Harrison. Hyndburn Councillor Marlene Howard. Hyndburn Councillor Susan Howard. Hyndburn Councillor Douglas Hayes. Hyndburn Councillor Terry Hearn. Hyndburn Councillor Colette McCormack. Hyndburn Councillor Gareth Molyneux. Hyndburn Councillor Ken Moss. Hyndburn Councillor Tim O'Kane. Hyndburn Councillor Dave Perkins. Hyndburn Councillor Miles Parkinson, who was the first to reply, stating, "I stand for election with views expressed and election material delivered, and should the electorate disapprove of my decisions during my term of office, I will not be re-elected. That is the people's will." Hyndburn Councillor Kath Pratt. Hyndburn Councillor Claire Pritchard. Hyndburn Councillor Brian Roberts. Hyndburn Councillor Ian Robinson. Hyndburn Councillor John Smith. Hyndburn Councillor Brian Walton. Hyndburn Councillor Kieran Wells. Hyndburn Councillor Nick Whittaker. Hyndburn Councillor Lynn Wilson. 33 out of the 35 elected councillors see it as fitting that they not explain how the will of the people is placated, given the council is a private corporate lapdog. This in itself is proof the council act for the corporate interests above that of their constitutional mandate, clearly presenting the reality all 3 block shareholdings in Globe Enterprises Limited act for the corporate script, in spite of and by subverting the will of the taxpaying public. Here lies the problem. Constitutional law on taxation does not enforce claims by private corporate entities that British citizens pay them a tax. Therefore, we are not compelled to pay council tax because the council is, of course, a private corporation. The knock-on effect of this, of course, means that the judiciary as a whole cannot enforce council tax collection. Neither can the constabulary, as they are both tied to their oath of office, which is clear only laws of the realm of the monarch can be enforced on these lands. The judiciary, of course, are enforcing laws outside what we would call constitutional law. There has to be a reason for this. The coronation oath has been modified without statutory authority. The present Queen swore a slightly different version of the oath to the 1689 version. It still included a promise to maintain the established Protestant religion in the United Kingdom. The text of oath taken by Queen Elizabeth II in 1953 is also appended to this note, 9 Coronation Oath Act 1688. So what does this mean? What is being presented in this reality? 1. Elizabeth Saxe-Coburg-Gotha is not the monarch of the constitutional realm of Great Britain. She is, however, proven in the fact the judiciary are enforcing the laws of the realm of Elizabeth Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, that Queen Elizabeth is stating the fact her realm is that of the corporate. If it was not so, the judiciary, Parliament, the House of Lords, the Constabulary and our councillors could not act in the manner they do by enforcing the will of the corporate contract. Number 2. In enforcing law of the United Nations and the European Union, Elizabeth Saxe-Coburg-Gotha is also presenting the reality the United Nations and the European Union are also part of her realm. Or all of the above could not enforce contract law against the constitutional realm. But the problems do not end there. On 1st of November 2003, the Archbishops of Canterbury and York and the General Secretary of the General Synod, together with the President, Vice President and Secretary of the Methodist Conference, signed the covenant at Methodist Central Hall, Westminster, in the presence of the Queen. The ceremony continued at Westminster Abbey with a short service of thanksgiving and dedication. This shows a second breach of the oath in that the Methodist construct is not a Protestant religion. It is a construct formed by the nonconformist industrial bankers to enable good Christians to be good contented slaves. In signing this covenant, the Queen is not upholding the established Protestant religion in the United Kingdom.